It's not the heater?
You too?
Wow. Good morning. My name's Annette Cannon. I'm the Special Magistrate assigned to hear your case today. I'm going to briefly explain the procedure for those who've never been here before. You've been cited with a violation, and you have time to correct the violation. The city has chosen to proceed with this hearing for the purpose of obtaining a finding of noncompliance, which can later be used at a subsequent hearing for the purpose of being deemed a repeat violation. The hearing is public, recorded, and all testimony is taken under oath. Although the formal rules of evidence do not apply, fundamental due process is observed. If you're admitting the violation, please advise when you come to the podium. You need to tell me how much time you need to correct the violation. The city will also give me an estimate. Based on what you both say, I will give you reasonable time to correct the violation. If you're contesting a violation, the city must prove through clear and convincing evidence that the violation has occurred and/or the violation is still in existence. This is under testimony of the inspector or the custodian of records if the inspector is not available to testify and the exhibit introduced by the city. If you're refuting a violation, you're expected to testify as to why there is no violation. After I've heard both sides, I'll run a decision based on the evidence and testimony before me. I find that there is no violation, I'll dismiss the case. I find that there is a violation, I will give you reasonable time to correct the violation before a fine begins to run. I have authority to impose fines up to $1,000 per day per violation. If you're a repeat offender, I have authority to impose fines up to $5,000 per day per violation. There's also an administrative fee of $108, which is assessed by me unless I waive it. When you come to the podium, please state your name, your relationship to the property owner, and if you have authority to proceed on behalf of the property owner. At this time, I ask the clerk to swear in all the witnesses.
Those of you who are about to testify, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Marrero has three cases at two different times. One of them is at 9. Do you want to hear all three of his cases?
If the inspector has the records, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
They're probably all relatively quick, too.
So the first one is page 1, number 1. SMB 219-367 for 7921 Byron Avenue. There's a lien on this property, and they made a request on 9/30 to stop the fines.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Mickey Marrero, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, here on behalf of the Condominium Association. Your Honor, I'm joined with me by David Raposo from Royal Management and several members of the board behind him. They're the mostly newly appointed members of the board. They, as you know, sometimes with these associations, there's some change and some things are discovered that were problematic. We realized when we got brought on board that there was a hearing that was missed and where fines were imposed. The fines that were imposed because of a violation, that violation is being resolved. But this is a 28-unit condominium. 50% of the folks are on a fixed income. Just approximately about 25% lost their jobs during COVID and are recovering. And the other 25% are rental properties where most of them weren't paying rent during the COVID. So it's a condominium association that was hoping to have, and by the way, let me just preface it by saying, there's no safety issues here. They had an engineer submit a report to the city confirming that the building is safe for occupancy. So we're not dealing with a situation where there's a danger, but there are things that need to be remedied to bring them up to code. They have now, as we're getting out of the dire time of COVID, they've been able to impose a special assessment to get the work that's needed done. This is for the repairs identified in the 40-year, and again, the immediate safety issues are addressed. It's just the remaining items that need to be done. The assessment was for $500,000. It was approved January 20th, and it's going to take them, admittedly, at least 6 months to get enough money to bring the contractor in. They now have a plan. I have a copy of that for you if you want to see it, but they've got a monthly deductions in place for the special assessment. What we're asking is, just because as these folks, some of them try to get refinancing, this running fine poses a problem. They are under control. Things are moving in the right direction. I'm going to work with them going forward to make sure that things stay on track. So what I would ask is that we stop the fines. We'll mitigate what's there later, but stop the fines that are running today. Now that we have things under control, then we're coming out of COVID and moving in the right direction. And then if we can set this for a progress report, and I would say 180 days, just because it's going to take us that much to get a contractor on board. And then I can at least report to you that the special assessment's been collected. We've got a contractor. We've got bids out. We've made progress. So that's why we're here today. It's our request, and happy to hear from Ibrahim.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Yes, Your Honor, this was in it's been in applied status. The last review that they had was in 12/6/21, and yes, it was rejected because of repairs that were needed, but no permits have been pulled yet. Nothing's been applied for
Right.
to date.
Okay, but do you see them moving towards it, or they're not able to do anything yet because they have to get the permits approved?
So, Your Honor, I'll show him, but basically this is the accounting. They've got the assessment. The first collection date starts this month, and you can see that it's going to take about a year. They will raise all the money, but they can start the work in the middle of that process.
Okay.
This is the assessment that's approved. So, yes, there's no question, the work has not started. The permit has not been pulled. We need a contractor. We are on track. Finally, the association's with better leadership, and they're in a situation where they can now start putting the money together. Unfortunately, because of COVID, that weren't in that situation before.
Did you want to admit this to evidence?
That's fine.
Okay, and do you have a letter from the engineer? You said there's a letter that,
Yeah, it was submitted to the city.
Safe to occupy letter. Safe to occupy letter, Your Honor. My only issue with that is that if it takes a year to get another contractor, when there's repairs required for concrete, it may get worse. So we need something.
What I could, up to you, but what I could agree to do, and Dave, if it's all right with you, is submit an interim letter before we can get the permit. If we can get an updated letter, let's say in 90 days to you. So we can agree, as part of your order, if that's okay with you, Your Honor, in 90 days, submit an updated letter so that we know that things are still safe for occupancy, and then set the progress report around that time. I said 180 because I know that that's what it's going to take us to get the contractor fully on board based on the assessments. They can't pay, these folks can't pay more than the monthly payments that have been proposed. So we cannot just financially do it any quicker. It's not for lack of desire, it's for lack of financial ability. So if you want to have us come back in 90 days just to make sure we've done that letter and then Ibrahim has it, I'm comfortable doing that.
Mr. Marrero, how long will it take to finalize the permit? Because on behalf of the city, 180 days is too long to bring it back. I understand the request to stop the fines. I understand nobody appeared. There's a change of association members. There's documents that were submitted over 2 months ago, and no permits have been pulled. And this is the 40-year recertification. And while there's a certain balancing that goes between financial ability and safety of the building, by kicking this down and not starting the work, I think you're putting all your residents at risk, because I don't know what the condition of the building is. And I even think that 90 days for a progress report is too long. I think they should come back, if they're inclined to come back for a progress report, in 30 days or 60 days to get this process started. The problem here is that, if we stop the fines at that point, then there's no further incentive to get this work done. So respectfully, I have to disagree with Mr. Marrero in his request to stop the fines, because nothing's been done in 2 months. He can certainly renew his request without prejudice.
So, again, there's a fine that's already there. We're not asking that to be vacated. We're asking it to stop so that it doesn't continue to accumulate. We have now taken the significant step of assessing the building. We weren't able to do that before. There just wasn't, the money wasn't there. We have elderly folks living in the building. The fact that the fine is accumulating has posed a problem for the
How much
residents.
are the fines as of today? Do we know?
You have it in your file.
And again, Your Honor, if I understand Steve's concern, we're confident the building is safe. If we want a letter sooner, and I'll come back as soon as you would like. I just wanted to say that we're not going to have a contractor starting the work for 6 months, but we can get you up just because the money isn't there. Imposing more fines won't make the money come faster. We have the assessment. It's going to be collected through this mechanism we have in place. David has told me he can get an updated letter from the engineer whenever you would like. If you want that letter, can you do 30?
Yeah, if the concern is the safety, let's address that, and financing is in the works as we speak.
I understand Steve's concern on behalf of the city. I just can't sit here and tell you we're going to start the work next week. We need to raise the money first.
Right.
Because of the population.
25% to retain a contractor. So.
Right.
Then my suggestion is that the fines not be stopped today, and that the fines you could even file your motion once you have the permit in place. But you're asking us to stop fines with 2 months, nothing has transpired, and I get the financial issue. But I've got to look for the building department and represent the building department that we want safety, and you haven't provided that. And there is a concern based upon Mr. Alvarez's testimony that there's concrete restoration and it doesn't get better, it gets worse.
Right.
And then the other problem is that, by bringing these back, we're clogging up the calendar with cases that are coming back as progress reports with stop fines. And that poses a problem to staff also because the work has not been done.
For us, I understand that there needs to be something the city does to maintain, jurisdiction over it. We're certainly, wanting to keep that, but the accumulating fines are posing a problem for the residents. That's why when they came in, just because some of the financing, when you say we're resolving, but the fine is growing, it makes it difficult. What we can do from a practical standpoint is make sure the engineer is monitoring the situation to make sure, again, a letter's already been submitted as to the structural safety of the building. We can update that, we can get that to the city. I think that, and that can be done within 30 days. You have a letter in the file. If for some reason the engineer doesn't provide a letter, obviously, we'd have to come back here and you could set it for as soon as you want, Your Honor. It doesn't have to be 180 days, it doesn't have to be 90. It's really important for the fines to stop. We're still gonna have to come mitigate it. They know that they have a lot of fines. And now we're gonna be on top of the situation to make sure that it's going forward.
The fines right now are $113,850, so that's what they are.
Right, and that's a significant amount for these folks. And, since we know it's gonna take a year really to complete everything, it's gonna take. That fine could balloon to a huge number, and it can be very difficult, even if you break it up per unit, for them to get any financing if they need it, and some of them do. So we already have a hardship here, and it compounds the hardship. The assessment's already been approved. It's already been set to be collected on a monthly basis.
When are they going to start collecting it?
What's the first date of collection?
February.
Yeah,
February 2022. This was approved, the assessment was passed late January.
January 20th, they passed it. It gives them a month to make sure everybody has the money. A month later is the first collection. It's already scheduled. It's already in place. And to address Mr. Rothstein's concern, we can come back as soon as you would like it. Obviously, my initial request was for longer because I know that's what it's going to take for us to have a contractor fully engaged and start their work. They're here. They hear the city, and they're going to do everything in their power to move as quickly as possible. But until we raise a couple of months' worth of money, we cannot pay someone a deposit to start the work. So finding us more isn't going to make that happen any sooner because there's no money.
I guess the concern is that the violation was issued October 3rd of 2018, and now we're 4 years later, or 3.5 years later, and we're not anywhere closer, other than now you're finally posing a special assessment, starting a special assessment, and I don't know if it was catapulted because of the violation or because you knew you had to do a 4-year recertification, and I think that's the frustration with the city, that people wait to get violations before they actually start doing anything.
Right. Well, look, I think the timing, these things, as you know, you get, the 40 years due the 2018, it takes some time to get together. About a year after that, COVID happened. And they just, the money, the ability for a small condo like this with limited income, it's always difficult to do these repairs. When you compound it with the timing of COVID, it makes it impossible. So that's the situation that we were in, and just now is when we're finally able to have everybody, or at least the majority of the unit owners in a situation where they can raise this money. And it's already been approved. To me, that's a significant step forward, because now we have the mechanism in place to get that funding. Prior to that, it just wasn't there. And you have units that are rental units that were not paying rent. You have elderly folks that were in fixed income and they're already struggling. But that's just everything was kind of working against it. And not until now have we been able to really get that approved, because there wasn't money available.
Okay. Our calendar's booked, but I'm still going to add another case. What I want to do is I'm going to have you come back in 30 days, okay? And I want to see the engineer letter. If it's not to the city's pleasing, then I'm going to give you 1 month reprieve.
Okay.
I understand that people are under hardship when it comes to these special assessments and the fines running, but I'm only going to give you a 30-day break. If at March 24th hearing, I'm going to reset it for March 24th. If on March 24th, the city's not satisfied with your letter, or if any progress being made, or that the safety of the building, we're going to restart the fines.
Okay, so we'll get you a letter before that, so that when we come here, the letter is in
Yes.
place.
And I'm sorry, the letter, the last one that was submitted was back in 2018 as well. So it's been
Right.
plenty of time from when the engineer said.
Oh, I
it
didn't know the
safe.
letter was that old.
No, there's a recent letter, because they got red tagged, and the engineer signed and sealed saying the building was safe for occupancy.
Do you have a copy of that letter?
Yeah, that,
Not on me, but I can send it to Special Master. It was submitted to the city, there was a deadline, otherwise they were gonna vacate.
that was like 2 or 3 months ago. Either way, we're gonna get a brand new letter.
This was within
Okay.
the last 2 months, I wanna say.
Okay, that's fine then, as long as that was done, okay.
That's what I have here on record, but yes. So in a month, if they can give us a letter of safe to occupy, we'll be fine. And depending on how much time they need, we will need to do that periodically.
Oh, absolutely. At the March 24th, in our next progress report, we'll revisit. If the city's satisfied, that's fine, but we'll have to have more hearings, unfortunately,
Okay.
as much as our calendar's pretty full, to make
Understood.
sure that the city is, okay with your progress or lack thereof, and we'll decide if the fines are going to restart or not. But I'll give you a 1-month reprieve in the interim, because I understand what you're telling me with the financial hardship, but we're really more concerned about the safety of the
Understood.
building, and.
Okay, so, all right.
I'll give you that letter.
We'll get 2 more real quick and then we'll go.
So we'll put in the report that they have to submit a new engineer report within 30 days of today's date, an updated engineer report.
You want me to add that in the order?
Yeah,
Submit a new engineer's
report by March 17th. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Mickey, your other case?
yes. So the second case is 1,000 South, do you want to call it first, or?
It's
What time is
page
this?
11, number 22, SMB 2020-847 for 1,000 South Point Drive. There's fines on this property, but they made a request to stop the fines and an extension of time to comply, which their request was timely.
Thank you, Cindy. So, Your Honor, there's been some confusion, and Ibrahim's trying to help me clear it up. They received a violation when it was from Mr. Avalos, and I spoke to him back then, and he was actually unclear what happened, but the only work that, this is the Murano Condominium Association, the only work that they are aware that happened was they put in a new pool heater, and they had a permit for that pool heater. They got a violation for putting equipment in the pool without a permit, and they've sent me, all we've done is this pool heater, we don't understand why this violation exists. I spoke to Ibrahim, made him aware of it, and he believes that that the pictures taken show other equipment.
Yes, no, the case was written after that permit for the
Pool heater.
water heater was closed. So this violation was written a couple of years after that. And there's pictures of pool equipment, there's new connections, new piping.
It's new equipment. It's not have to do with the water heater.
I'm gonna send them the pictures,
Mm-hmm.
so we can show it to his clients.
So get an after the fact
Yeah.
permit, or?
That's what's needed, yes.
So, yeah, and do you know what the equipment is? I pressed them, and they just said, look, send me the pictures, I'll forward it to them, if it needs to be a new permit, we'll get the new permit. They just were confused as to why, they weren't aware. Sometimes maybe the management company had somebody go in there and do some repairs, I don't know, but if we have the pictures, we can at least show the contractor what it is and get the permit. They're absolutely anxious to comply and close this, they just
Right.
really didn't know what the issue
I
was.
don't have any basis to stop the fines, because until I see something, I think you're better off just with mitigation, because if the fines should never have been started, then obviously we'll waive the fines.
Well-
But if there's fines that are running because they're not in compliance and they did something and they're not working towards it, we're really.
Well, we didn't know what the fine was for. And Frank, I came here basically thinking that the pool heater was the permit. That we had a discussion, we had a call with our team and the
Right.
pool contractor, and they told me it was just a pool heater, here's the permit number. That's why I requested to stop it.
Let me pull this file, because this is, I only have the 9 o'clock.
Sure.
Oh, what's that one? This is 11.
Thank you.
You went jazzy, dude.
Okay, so the violation was issued April 1st, 2021. No, I'm sorry, that was the hearing date. The violation was issued August 27, 2020. So you're telling me it's been over a year and they still don't know why they were issued a violation?
Well, I originally reached out to Mr. Avalos when I got asked to help on this, and he was unclear what it was for. I sent him the pool permit that we had, and then before I got an answer, he was no longer with the city. And he did tell me he wasn't sure, and he was looking into it. And then, I honestly, frankly, they changed management companies too. It's sort of like the bane of my existence, and they let me know late on the other hearing. They're convinced that the pool heater permit is the only thing they've done. So this is the first time I'm seeing pictures, and I'm happy to come back soon, but there's no work that they're aware even occurred, other than the pool heater.
So I see what happened. There was the hearing that was scheduled for November, let's see, what's the hearing date? October 14th, nobody came for that. And so that's why I gave a compliance date, because nobody was here.
Right.
And then apparently they didn't get into compliance.
Right, that was, the management company changed in October. They did not get notice of the hearing. They then asked me to come in to stop the fine, and we still thought we were in compliance up until this point.
So you don't even know what has to, you still don't know what has to get.
I'm now seeing the pictures. I wish I would have seen them sooner.
I just forwarded the picture to your email address.
Yeah, and Ibrahim did also, I
Have
think.
it. I sent them to you right now. as we
Okay.
speak. Okay.
Perfect.
And also, I believe we can go in, back into the plans that were pulled for the original water heater permit.
Right.
And see if it includes any of this piping and whatever we have
Yeah,
here.
frankly, it may be, if included, again, they are adamant that they certainly didn't authorize, there was no contractor paid for any work in the pool subsequent to the pool heater. So I think there's still confusion, frankly, and Ibrahim's been great to work with, and I'm happy to put him in contact with our pool heater contractor to see if this work was included in that, because I really think it was. And I don't want, because what happens, Your Honor, when you have an association with like 200 people, when there's a fine running, they go to refinance, which happens all the time, and then they can't. And then they have to come to the city. And this is not a situation where there's plenty of money at this condo association. It's just, we don't know what to do. And I honestly think if I sit with him and bring the pool contractor, we're probably going to find that pool permit at least certainly attempted to include what work is there. If something has to be done, we're happy to do it. We have the means. It's not for lack of wanting, but I think now I understand better what they think the violation is. It's just a little bit confusing. No work was authorized or paid for by the association subsequent to the pool heater. So if the pool heater work included some wiring that needed a separate permit, we'll get it. But it's not this is not a safety issue. It's just a technical issue, and I think probably already in compliance.
Okay, so you're going to meet with the city?
Yeah, and I have the photo. What I'm going to do, and I'm getting the photos. I think both of them sent it to me. I'll schedule a call or a meeting with Ibrahim, and if you want to bring in somebody from plumbing,
If you can pull the records online for the.
and
permit.
we'll talk next week. And I hope to get to the bottom of it. I just don't want a fine to start running that then creates all this unintended consequences.
Okay, I'll stop the fines today because there seems to be a lot of confusion going on. Do you want a progress report? What do you want me to do?
No, he needs to come in and we need to look at the previous plans that are there, see if what was in these pictures was included in those plans. If it wasn't,
I know, just to not clog up your calendar, if there is a permit needs to be obtained, it's probably pretty simple, right, you think? If you want to set a compliance date for 90 days, that way I can probably solve it, either by closing the violation, or if there's a corrective permit that needs to be done, we'll get it. And if for some reason it's more complicated than we think it is, and I don't think it is, I'll have to come back. But I think a compliance date 90 days keeps it off your calendar and probably gets us what we need to solve this.
Perfect. So I'm going to give I'm going to stop the fines today, give you a new compliance in May 18th, and the original fines of $200 will be restarted if you're not in compliance by then, okay?
Fair enough.
And your 2 o'clock, the file's on the chair, Your Honor,
Thank you.
which is page 16, number 32, SMB 2020-794 for 6854 Harding Avenue. They're here to challenge the affidavit of noncompliance, and there are fines running currently on this property.
So, Your Honor, this one, I didn't challenge the fine, it was challenged by my client before he hired me, but on this was a very complicated case. I actually, we had some cases here last month, and we came and got additional time. I brought the property manager, the property owner, and Ibrahim. We had a meeting here at the city, went over all the photos that were taken. There was basically an issue with a tenant that created all these issues, and my client's trying to resolve them in this building. We came to an agreement that Ibrahim is now working with my client. They're actually resolving everything. I'll stay involved as I need be. And those cases were scheduled for May 12th. Just so that they're all in the same calendar, because it's the same property and the same work, I would just ask if we can have this case reset for May 12th, or just as a progress report for May 12th, so that we're not having multiple dates. And those other cases are SMB 2019-326 and 325, and they are already scheduled for May 12th at 9. So if we could just have this one on that same calendar, it could be, I think, just for efficiency's sake, makes the most sense.
That's fine. I'll reset it for May 12th, and I'm not going to address the noncompliance challenge then.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So it's going to be set for a challenge of noncompliance when they're
Wait,
pretty
right.
clear that they're not in compliance?
Yeah,
They
I
are
said it
not.
as a progress report. I mean, I just,
Right, I mean, look, if you're not in compliance, I'm not obviously going to set aside the affidavit of noncompliance.
okay, that's fine. But I just want the
if you-
cases to be all
But I'm
together.
giving you the benefit, if you're asking me to have it heard on that day, it can be, but I mean, I normally will not set aside a affidavit of noncompliance if you're not in compliance, because there's no basis for it.
Okay, but just
Your
keep it
Honor,
on the calendar.
if that's the case, then the city would respectfully request that you deny the challenge, and then Cindy could proceed with her paperwork.
For a progress report.
Well, because the challenge to the affidavit, the challenge here is to the affidavit of noncompliance, so the fines are running, but there's no lien on the building.
Right, so now I need to file a lien if you
Well,
deny
no,
it.
it depends what the magistrate does here.
That's what
If
I'm
we
saying.
defer ruling on the challenge of the noncompliance, even though it's pretty clear they're not in compliance, then it will be heard with the progress report on May 12th. If Your Honor finds that the challenge is flawed, then Cindy should be able to proceed with her portion.
All right, so I'm going to deny the challenge of noncompliance, and then I'm going to set it for a progress report for May.
That's actually what I asked for. That's perfect. Thank you, Your
Okay.
Honor. And what I would ask is, just while we're on this case, if we could withhold the filing of a lien since we are in the middle of working to compliance, since there is a progress report.
I'm not going to withhold it. If there's a lien, it's going to be filed, and if on May 12th, whoever's going to be hearing that day decides that that they're in compliance or they're going to stop the fines, then we can always have the lien withdrawn at that time. But
Okay.
as long as there is a lien, it's going to be filed.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, go back to the 9 o'clock calendar. Page 2, number 3, SMB 19-548 to 8440 Byron Avenue. They're here for a mitigation. Go there. Yes. George, are you at 10 o'clock? What's your case, please?
Good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning, Sergio Gurvich. I'm a
What is it,
authorized
Sergio,
representative, power of attorney.
What's this? I'm sorry, what was your last name?
Gurvich, Gurvitsch.
This is 8440 Byron, right?
Yes.
Who's Geraldo Gallo?
I'm sorry?
Gerardo Gallo. I'm looking at this, it says that the property address, are you a new owner or the old owner, or?
I represent the owner. I have a power of attorney for that.
Oh, that's
purpose.
why I was asking who you were. Okay, so you're the owner representative,
Exactly.
and you have a power of attorney that you want to?
Yes, I do.
Perfect.
May I come in?
Yeah, give it to my clerk.
Thank you.
is this an old one? I'm looking for, thank you. Perfect. The application for mitigation. Did you submit an application for mitigation? No.
I think this was before,
They were required to do it?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
because this is
fine.
back in 2020,
Okay, that's fine then.
so.
No worries. Thank you.
Let me see some.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Gurevich, right?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a case going back to 2019, October 2019, where the previous owner of this property didn't comply with the 4-year recertification. My landlord purchased this property at foreclosure auction in May of 2021, and it was a year and a half after this violation, and received a certificate of title in June 2021. Immediately, there was no way to do it before. He retained a structural engineer, and he proceeded with all the recertification of 4 years, and it was complied in July 2021. So I'm coming here to ask you for help, because my landlord didn't have there's no fault, there was no intention to beat the system here, and more than that, the previous owner at foreclosure auction received a surplus of $300,000. So it's not fair that my landlord should be.
Well, when somebody buys a property, they assume all the liability of that property, so it just doesn't go away. I understand that your landlord got into compliance as quickly as possible. As soon as he got it, he did what he could. But understand that you get the benefit and you also get the risk involved when you buy something at an auction. It just doesn't go away. Because the city, there's a reason why we have certain code. There was a 40-year recertification, they weren't timely, I understand, and that's why the fine started. But it's not that it's not fair, it's just, it's with any property that you purchase, you're going to assume the risk involved as well.
Your Honor, I understand that, and that's why I'm asking you, please, we need help, because there was no ill intention here. There was not trying to beat the system, as I mentioned before.
So I saw they
I'm coming here
purchased
to ask for help, that's it.
Okay. How much money did your landlord put in to get into compliance? Do you know how much money they had to?
It was not, I didn't bring that amount. I mean, besides retaining the engineer, you mean the engineer's fees and all whatever it has to be. No, I don't have it. Honestly, I don't.
Okay. Does the city have anything they want to add?
No, Your Honor, the case was closed. It was closed back in September of 2020.
Okay. Do you guys see what the fair market value of this property is on a property appraisal? What are they being assessed at? I see they purchased the property for $1.4 million.
$1.4 million and change, yeah.
Let's see what they spent on the permit as well. Or what they valued on the permit, the repairs.
No, I need your case number. See that I'm blinded in the back, right?
Without my glasses, I can see. That's why I'm asking you to look at it.
Okay, honey, I have you.
Thank you.
900, right? I have to double check. Okay, I have you, you're welcome.
Your Honor, the property appraiser has it, for tax assessment for the 2021 value, $1,041,250, which would have been less than the purchase price.
Okay.
The only thing I'd like to add, Your Honor, is that there was a foreclosure sale, and the foreclosure certificate of title was issued back in 2012, but in 2021, there was a sale of the property. Actually, it was the clerk's sale again. I guess it got reset. But the certificate of title was issued on 6/8/2021. I believe the gentleman testified that he was in compliance within a month afterwards, but that seems to be, Mr. Alvarez, if you could check the compliance date, because I thought you said 2020.
Yeah, I'm a little confused because the fines, I'm looking at my lien statement, the fines were from May 18th to August 27th of 2020, but yet the compliance date was July 2nd.
September the 2nd, 2020.
21.
That's when the affidavit of compliance was printed out.
I'm
The
sorry?
affidavit of compliance was printed out on that date, 9/2/2020.
Violation compliance date was 9/2/20. I received the affidavit of compliance on 9/10/20.
Okay, but they were in compliance prior to the purchase of this property, is what,
Yes, from the testimony and from the records from the property appraiser's office, it looks like the violation was in compliance before the certificate of sale was issued.
okay. And that was the lien filed and all that? Let's-
Yes,
I guess, what was, Cindy, if you could tell us the date of the lien?
yes, just a moment. I can't get it. Hold on. Okay, the lien was filed on 4/22/2021.
Okay, so prior to the purchase date.
Yes, but by operation of law, it was filed before the issuance of the certificate of title, so that the city's lien should be released, and all we have to do is talk about the fines.
Okay, I'm gonna reduce the fines to $2,000. Okay, inclusive of court costs, to be paid by March 17th.
I sincerely appreciate, can I get, please, the bill and we are to pay and we want to run tomorrow to pay it? And no, yeah, because things have to be done immediately, not to,
Yes, Cindy, I don't know how quickly he can get the order done he wants to pay. So
Pardon?
He was saying how he wanted to pay the bill of $2,000 as soon as possible.
Well, you have until March 17th.
no, but where can I get the bill? Yes, yeah, I hear it,
It's not-
and I
it's not-
appreciate it again.
It's not a bill. It's an order of the special magistrate that will be sent to the address I have on file, which I'm assuming will be you. So once you get that order, it's going to take a while, sir. We have a 10-day turnaround, pretty much. So then what you can do is come in, and you can pay however you want. You come to the office, special magistrate office.
Yeah, may I ask you, please, is it possible to get via email rather than via post office?
Pardon?
Or whatever, whichever
What's
communication?
an email instead of a mail?
Well,
Instead of the post office?
We had issues with the
we
post office.
usually do, that's part of our business, that's what we do, is send it by mail. So if you want to send me an email as a reminder, give me a few days, and I'll scan it and email it to you.
Of course I will. So I'll remind you about this and I'll ask you if
Just,
It'll be done by next week. She's very quick. She just doesn't want to put additional pressure on herself, but she's very quick, okay? So by next week, you'll have an order. So if you want to come in next week with your checkbook, for the $2,000, you'll be able to pay it next week. I'm sure it'll be fine.
So check.
And it's gonna take a while for that lien to be released, so don't expect that to be released on the same day. Because there's a procedure that
understand.
has to go through in order for the lien to be released. So that's gonna take time, sir.
It's fine, it's fine.
Okay.
Where should I come to? Which floor or which office should I come to?
First floor commission chambers.
Clerk's office.
First floor city clerk's office, I'm sorry.
City clerk. I got it and I appreciate it. All right, thank you for your courtesy. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Hi. Oh, hi, Jeff, is it 900 Jefferson Avenue?
1350 South Biscayne Point.
Hold
That's
on.
for 10 a.m.
Oh, give me a minute, let me call the next case, please. Page 2, number 4, SMB 2020-723 for 7440 Harding Avenue. They made a request to stop the fines.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Magistrate. Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Damien Gallo with the permit doctor, 775 Street, 17th Street. With me, the property owner. I actually with pull permits, we pass inspections, we close the permit, and we close the violation. The violation at this moment is closed. Back in October, I request stop fine hearings because after reviewing this case, I know there was a lot of progress and a lot of things that need to be shown to the special magistrate. But now I would like to, with your permission, if we can, present a motion to change this stop hearing to a mitigation.
Did you do the form online? We have, remember we have that form on the special magistrate website that.
No, I haven't.
We need those forms done
Hold on.
for mitigation. It makes the process a lot easier. You basically have to put a timeline and your basis for mitigation. Let me see, how much is your,
Mr. Alvarez, the violation is in compliance?
The violation is closed. The permit was finalized on May 6, 2021.
Okay, well, if that's the case,
I don't even have the fines amount here.
I don't have, all I have is, it's listed as open status, on 3/15/2021. Hold on.
I don't have an affidavit of compliance in here.
It said that there should be full compliance by May 14th, and I don't have that.
Do we have fines running?
No, because I don't have the affidavit of non-compliance.
So we
But-
don't have any fines.
No, it's listed as opened. I mean, they made their request to stop the fines, but I can't do anything until I have the actual.
Right, but now you're telling me they're in compliance.
They're in compliance.
Yes, but
So-
it looks like the
I think
compliance
it has to be
date was before, my understanding is that the compliance was on May 6, 2021.
No,
No?
the final date of the permit was
Oh.
on May 6, 2021.
Okay.
They
Wait, what
complied
did you
on
s-
January 28th,
Wait, what?
January 28th, 22. That's the compliance date.
January 28, 2022,
Yes, we finalized the permit then.
compliance date. Okay,
So the-
January, and
I did-
I mean, that's when they were in compliance.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be in compliance May 14, 2021.
Yeah, but we timely request an extension, which I have records of the mail sent.
Hold on.
If
What was the date of the request for the
was
extension?
by email, the first request was
No.
April 30, 2021, for case SMB 2020-007723. And
I don't have that.
I don't have,
All I have is
yeah, I
on
don't have that either. I don't have
October the 8th, 2021,
That's
a
all I have.
request was made to stop the fines and change where all the correspondence needed to be sent.
Exactly, that's,
Okay, and that's all and then on on October 22nd, 21, the attorney submitted a letter requesting mitigation, and I wrote no mitigation hearing as I'm still waiting on affidavits.
The attorney's a
Actually-
homeowner, yeah.
It was submitted to Isabel, the request for continuance.
Okay, the continuance, though, is not for additional
But
time
none
to
of this,
comply.
none of this, I don't have any of that documentation.
Okay,
It's not in the system.
Okay,
I
I'm gonna,
understand, it's not in the system.
appeared in the calendar.
He's the property owner. Say your name for the record.
Please, yes.
So your
I
name for
re-
the record.
Yes, thank you very much. I appear on July 12th to a calendar, and I have my note here, and I have my request, and I appear, and they told me it was a very quick hearing on Zoom, and I was told, and I have here the Zoom link that I was sent in the email, and I was told to just find that request mitigation later by the clerk. The special master was not present. I was at the last in the calendar, and I was told, no, everything is fine, don't worry about it. I'm quoting, just ask mitigation later.
Not
I
by
am the
me.
property
I have
owner.
no
I'm
idea. I
present.
mean,
Uh,
a
not
clerk
by
doesn't
me.
have any authority to tell you.
That's right.
It was a very, well.
I mean, I'm
it
just
happened-
Your Honor, if I may, perhaps for the purposes of today, we're here on a request to stop fines, but they're already in compliance. The request was timely made on October 8th, 2021, so I think Your Honor can stop the fines as of that date.
I don't even know when the fine started. That's my whole point. I don't even have a lien statement. I have nothing.
Right, because I don't have anything either.
And I don't have any requests to stop the fines.
That's right.
That's my point. I don't
That's
have,
what's on the calendar for today from October
No,
8th.
I have on October the 8th,
no, October the 8th was,
stop
Damien.
the fines and change where all the correspondence had to be sent. That
So the
has to be
fines
done
have already been stopped,
as of,
October 8th, I guess.
They never started.
They never started. But, Your Honor, just to make it clear, this case is a front door due to a break-in. My client has spent over $5,000 fixing this door, making it into this door. It's a front door issue.
Oh, thank you.
That what was replaced with. You can leave it for the records.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there was a break-in and then you
Yeah.
had a,
And then replace it for security. And the condo association report them that the work was done without a permit.
oh,
So this is a big case. This is the case about, after so many months in the middle of COVID, with $5,000 out of pocket, we're here requesting to close the case and bring it to zero.
Your Honor, at this point, although there's no request for mitigation on file, there's been no fines running on it, the city would just ask for the court costs to close the case since it's in
I agree.
compliance.
So whatever the court costs are, I don't know what they are because I don't have a fine statement.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
I'm going to reduce it to the court costs, okay?
hold on.
Thank you, Your
To
Honor.
be, we let her, and there's,
Apparently there's, geez, this is a really mess up. Okay. When this case was heard with Ms. Satchel, no court costs were assessed, even though it was written down. So that would be $106. I'll have to add that in. It would only be $106.
okay, and there's no lien that's been filed, so you don't have to worry about release lien. So I'm going to reduce it to the court cost of $106 to be paid by March 17th, okay?
Thank you very much. Have a good day, guys.
Now, let me ask a question. Am I to still receive both affidavits?
You should,
Just-
for paper purposes, yes, you
Yes,
should.
absolutely.
it's an
Paper
affidavit of
purposes, and then I have to
compliance
waive them, right? I have
Yeah.
to add them and then waive them.
Right.
Okay. And when do they pay that?
March 17th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on. I'll just make myself a note later. Page 5, number 9, SMB 2020-896 for 7830 Dickens Avenue. status is open and it's a progress report. Hold on a minute. Page 5, number 9. I need it.
Good morning.
Morning, Your
Please
Honor.
state your name for the record.
Vladimir Matovic.
What is the
MATO
name?
Vladimir Matovic. I'm one of the owners. Matovic. Matovic. My wife was here 3 months ago.
Okay, thank you. This is a progress report for 40-year recertification, so what is going on?
Finally, we have good news. We're gonna start to building to be repaired on March 1st, and I have the construction permit number.
Perfect. Does the city have record of that?
Yes, Your Honor. Permit was applied for in 10/20 of '21, and that was for concrete repairs. It's still being reviewed, though.
Okay, so what does the city want to do then?
I think for review purposes, another 60 days will be fine.
How many?
For review purposes, another 60 days.
You want to come back in 60 days?
Yeah.
Okay, so 60 days would be April 18th. We don't have a date in April, so let's come back on May 12th.
Well,
okay?
that's the only date you can come back because I'm slammed up until May 12th. So are they coming back for progress report on May 12th?
Yes, ma'am. May
Oh.
12th. That's what I just said.
Oh,
Okay, let's come back on May 12th for progress
Thank you very
report.
much. Do you need construction permit number?
I have it.
You have. Okay. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with that.
okay. Page 4, number 8, SMB 2020, 852 for 1746 Meridian Avenue. They made a request for an extension of time. Fines are imposed.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good
Cindy,
morning.
Mr. Rothstein.
Oh,
Do you have this, sir?
Please state your name for the record.
My name is John Bennett, property manager.
can't
I
hear.
have the application number for the.
Well, this was before that one, okay.
What are you going to do?
Okay, so,
I'm giving them to you. No, do you need to? It goes in one ear and out the Shame. Where did that gentleman go?
okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Bennett.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. At the time we made the request for extension of time, we had been working with a local permit outfit who had supplied us with a third-party engineer. That was for months, and he had left us. We had been through a couple more. This violation was for a 61-unit building where the owner replaced some AC units without permits. At the time, like I said, when we asked for more time, that engineer had just left us, and we were trying to find someone to come in to basically do the calculations and engineering to legalize this work. And it was difficult finding anybody. After the request was made, we finally located an engineer in November. We paid him in November. I have the records of that. Where there's a permit in applied status, which is, I think, about to be approved. He had one more piece of paper he needed to have. Cost affidavit. He told me that yesterday. This thing is about to be approved, and all that needs to happen then is the inspections on the work, which has already been verified by him as to code and should have no issues.
So all I have here, I know there was a compliance date of October 10th of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a letter, but it's not dated till January 12th, asking for additional time. So I don't have anything that requested time prior to that.
I have the email to the clerk on October 7th.
Okay.
I can provide that if you like.
Okay, 'cause let me see, maybe I haven't one.
Yeah, because actually the synopsis online is very, there's nothing on it except for non-compliance.
What I have is how far back, I have, on 10/7, you made a request for an extension of time,
Yes, ma'am.
and it was a timely request.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We received, I think, a notice of intent
And-
to lien after that.
I got, oh God, this thing won't open up. And
where I
then I
issued
received,
where I asked to challenge, I guess, because if the extension for time is granted, then the
Um,
lien would have been,
on December the
Put aside.
1st, I received the affidavit of non-compliance. So I had to run that. Then on January the 5th, I sent the 20-day notice, but I also held off on filing the lien because they made, on January the 12th, a request to challenge the affidavit of non-compliance. But I guess,
So your request for additional time to comply was untimely, never made it to my file because I don't
Yes, ma'am.
have it. But I'm going to grant the additional time to comply because you did ask for a timely, the original date should have been October 10th. How much time do you need? I just want to give a new compliance
honestly, at this
date.
point, I think if you said a 90-day compliance, I think we're okay. Because the work is done, the engineer's signed off on it himself, he says, we're good here. Once the permit's approved, we can get inspections and be done with this matter. I think that would be appropriate, assuming there's no hiccups in permitting, but he's
Okay,
well into
so
this.
I'm going to, so we have filed a lien. There's a lien that's been filed on that then?
no.
There was a notice of intent to file.
No, there's no,
Okay,
hold on.
okay, good. No, I
There's
just wanted
no
to make,
lien, but there are fines, and if he's getting another compliance date, he's already got fines running from 10/11/2021.
okay, well, I'm going to waive the fines because he asked for a timely additional time to comply. So I'm going to waive the fines and give you a new compliance date, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And also grant the extension for more time in the order.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
that I
Thank you,
got.
sir.
When's the new compliance date, Your Honor?
May 18th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
How much?
$150.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Sir.
Okay. Did I call everyone for 9 a.m. or did I miss someone? I want to miss anybody. Okay, you guys are all 10 and 11.
We have the no-shows though,
Okay.
right?
So, page 1, number 2, SMB 19-499 for 5445 Collins. Fines are imposed, and they did make a request on 10/7 to challenge the non-compliance, Your Honor.
They're not here though. We have service that was sent to Brooklyn, New York. I mean, this is a, do you see a signature here?
That's a good signature.
Okay, it was sent to a Brooklyn, New York 11215. I wanted to see where we got that address from.
This is closed. Violation was closed back in 12/4/2020. The violation they got cited for.
Thought we opened this one. If you read agents' comments on the DV,
Right?
this one shouldn't be closed, they don't have permits.
It was failure to close the violation when it was issued.
They're in compliance?
They should.
Are they in compliance on this one?
Let me look it up.
I just want to see where we're sending it to. I have a registered agent address in Davie. I have an address in New York. What's the proper address to
I
that?
was told to send this to Hertz.
Realty?
500 Fourth Avenue,
yes,
Suite 3, Brooklyn, New
yes,
York,
Brooklyn, New York,
11215.
Okay,
Yes.
then we have proper service, so no one's here.
Then we would request that the city would request that the challenge to the affidavit of non-compliance be denied.
Yeah, I am going to deny it. I'm going to deny the request to challenge the non-compliance affidavit.
As a no-show.
Right.
Yes.
Pero esta la cerró porque se abrió esta,
no hay
permiso, porque no se habían transferido los casos.
On 9/1, I only received that affidavit of non-compliance. I haven't received anything else, because I believe that Mr. Alvarez was saying that the case has been in compliance.
No, there apparently is some discrepancy, so we're not going to address that issue now. The issue before the court is to challenge the
Okay.
affidavit of non-compliance. It's been denied. We could figure it out later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
All right,
for
let's move on.
clarification.
Okay, so the next one would be, let's see,
So it's just denied and that's it?
you put in there that they didn't show up, it was a
Right.
no-show, and that the petitioner's request to challenge the affidavit of
Right.
noncompliance is denied.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Page 3, number 5,
Wait,
SMB 2020-751 for 960 Jefferson Avenue. They also made a request for an extension of time, but I do not have an affidavit of noncompliance.
Well, I have service and they're not here, so if they're not here, then I don't really, I want to make sure I have the rights. Let's see. No, actually, I don't know what this is, no, this is an old service. I don't have, do you have service for today? Because I don't see it. My service is dated February 21. I hardly think it's the service for today's hearing.
en el sistema abierto.
All you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Federación,
Unless it was put in the back of the file.
Problem mechanical violation.
No hay, yo te mandé un email con fotos de todo, no hay permiso. Chequea.
¿Y tenemos la foto de eso? ¿Por qué?
Y
The address should be
el sistema
2875 Northeast 191st Street, Suite 501, Aventura, Florida 33180.
Lo podemos investigar, pues ya ellos
Permiso.
regulan el
Yeah,
tema.
that's fine.
I don't know what happened here.
The no service, am I correct?
Yes. because
Okay.
This is old. Again.
I guess we'll deal with the request for additional time to comply once I have them here, but I don't have them here because I have no service. So what's the first available date I can have them here? It's May 12th, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I guess there's not much more I can do then, May 12th.
No, reset for proper service, May 12th. Okay. Page 3, number 6, SMB 2020-759 for 1656 Alton Road.
I don't have service,
Pardon?
no service.
Let me see something.
Let's post it. I don't have, are they still not in compliance?
There's not any compliance, Your Honor, and there was a safe to occupy letter that was requested by our reviewers.
Wait, what, there was a what?
Safe to occupy letter. This is a 40-year certification case. The reviewer requested back on 2/7 of 22 a safe to occupy letter that hasn't been provided,
Wow.
and also repairs to be done on the building, which I need a permit for.
Okay, that's a problem. So we're going to post this one, and we're going to set it immediately, because this is a life safety issue, so.
Your Honor, this is the former Epicure property on
Oh.
Alton Road. It is vacant.
Yeah, that's right.
There was litigation. Mr. Shore and/or his representatives have been here routinely throughout this whole issue to update us. So if there's no service for today's hearing, if you could please set it. I know Cindy's calendars are jammed, but this is the 40-year recertification, although it is a vacant property right now.
Yeah, oh, I know Epicure's vacant, but they have the gym next to it at the same building?
That's part of a separate issue with fire and ingress and egress. But the portion that for this folio is the vacant Epicure
Okay.
former site.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reset it for March 10th. Because we need to just, this is a big deal. Okay, we're going to reset it for March 10th, and let's go ahead and, are you in contact with Mr. Shore? Because if it's going to an attorney, I'm kind of shocked why we had no service with an attorney. But let's go ahead and post it as well.
Page 4, number 7, SMB 781, 1331 Lincoln Road. They made a request for an extension of time. Then I got an email the other day making a request for a continuance.
Yeah, I have an email right here. They want a continuance of today's hearing. I have no problem with that. What's the violation on this one?
The violation of this is for installation of windows without a permit.
Okay, all right, let's reschedule. I'm going to grant the request for continuance and reset it for May 12th.
Okay. And that's it for 9.
All right, let's start on our 10 o'clock then.
Okay, those of you, I know some of you have already been sworn in, but others have not. So if you haven't been sworn in, you need to stand and raise your right hand. Are you testifying at all, ma'am? No? Oh, okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Okay.
All right, good morning. My name's Annette Cannon. I'm the special magistrate assigned to hear a case today. I'm going to briefly explain the procedure for those who've never been here before. You've been cited with a violation, and you have been time to correct the violation. The city has chosen to proceed with this hearing for the purpose of obtaining a finding of noncompliance, which can later be used in a subsequent hearing for the purpose of being deemed a repeat violation. The hearing is public, recorded, and all testimony is taken under oath. Although the formal rules of evidence do not apply, fundamental due process is observed. If you're admitting the violation, please advise me when you come to the podium. You need to tell me how much time you need to correct the violation. The city will also give me an estimate. Based on what you both say, I will give you reasonable time to correct the violation. If you're contesting the violation, the same is proved through clear and convincing evidence that the violation has occurred and or the violation is still in existence. This is done through testimony of the inspector or custodian of records, and the inspector is not available to testify in the exhibits introduced by the city. If you're refuting the violation, you're expected to give testimony as to why there is no violation. After I've heard both sides, I'll run a decision based on the evidence and testimony for me. I find that there is no violation, I will dismiss the case. I find that there is a violation, I will give you reasonable time to correct the violation before a fine begins to run. I have authority to impose fines up to $1,000 per day for violation. If you're a repeat offender, I have authority to impose fines up to $5,000 per day for violation. There's also an administrative fee of $108, which is assessed by me unless I waive it. When you come to the podium, please state your name, your relationship with the property owner, and if you have authority to proceed on behalf of the property owner. At this time, I ask the clerk to swear in all the witnesses.
I have.
Oh, okay. Then let's proceed.
Okay, page 8, number 16, SMB 2020-894, for 6630 Collins Avenue. Your Honor, they made a request to stop the fines.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Adam Anderson, property manager.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Adam Anderson, property manager.
Okay. Can you spell your last name, Adam?
Anderson.
Oh, A-M-B, Amberson.
Anderson.
A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N. Oh, I
Yes.
thought you said A-M-B, I'm sorry.
No
Okay,
problem.
I'm going to have the city explain the violation, then you can respond, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor, this is for 6634 Collins Avenue.
I thought it was 6630 Collins Avenue, am I wrong?
6630.
34.
I have, well,
Actually,
Multiple
I have
property
both.
addresses.
6620 and 6634. I have two hearings today.
Okay, but we're doing 00894.
Correct.
Okay,
There's also mitigation, which is number 10 on your docket.
okay.
So that was for, I'm sorry, new floors, new door, new electrical panel. There is a permit that was issued, and it's due to expire 3/23 of '22. And there was an electrical also, not attached, but it's on the partial, and that was filed.
Okay, so the door permit's expiring on March 23rd.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, let me see, whenever you're ready.
Okay, yes, so this was it's a small unit, 380 square feet. There was a barber there, and the reason it took so long is because he went to jail because he was doing something in there. I couldn't get into that location for a very long time because it was under investigation. When we got in there, we found out that he built his own electric, and the ATM machine was giving other things besides cash, so it was a mess. But we did fix the electric, we got it passed. We couldn't do the final because we have to, he changed the door. So we had to go and take his door out and put it in. We had to make 3 floor plans. We must have spent already $15,000 just on paperwork to get all of these. And the problem I had was we finished everything, we passed everything. There was one thing left, just this door. Just yesterday, and you can see they approved the third print drawings from our GC. I'm hoping Monday we have our final inspection, and once that passes, I think everything is good with that unit.
Okay, so I'm going to grant your request to stop the fines. I'm going to give you a new compliance date based on your permit, which expires on March 23rd. So I'm going to give that as your new compliance date of March 23rd, and if you're not in compliance, then the fines of $100 will restart, okay?
Thank you.
And then
Your
once you're
Honor.
in compliance, you could request a mitigation. We have it on the site, a form to be completed, okay?
Then can we do the other, the 6620 now?
Wait, so what number?
That's page 5, number 10, which is SMB 19-293 for 6620 Collins.
It's the same property or different unit, is that what it is?
Different unit. Actually, it's the same building, but there are two folio numbers, so 6620 will go on a different folio number.
6620 Collins Avenue, Your Honor, that one says it was closed. Affidavit of compliance created 11/4/21.
They were in compliance on 421?
I don't know.
Yes.
Hold on.
We close it November.
11/4/21.
November 1, 20, November.
Yeah, I'm a little confused here.
November
Hold
4th,
on.
2021 was compliance.
November 1, yeah.
Yeah, they're here for mitigation.
Yeah, I see here there's a beginning date of July, they had fines from July 28th until October 28th of 21. The fines total $48,150 plus court costs. Let me see, did you do your application mitigation? Thank you. Okay, whenever you're ready, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, so this was another issue we had. Tenants put up Christmas lights on the outside of their stores, some little speakers on the outside. We evicted them. Once we evicted them, we went in, we took it off, we repaired it. It took a very long time to get into these units because basically the tenants are the ones who did it. This was going right through COVID. Then after we took it all down and fixed it, the city says we actually need a drawing from a floor plan of the entire property showing before, if you remember, before and after. So we had to, it was just a very long process of getting somebody to actually come and make the floor plan for the city because the city wouldn't close it unless we showed them what was before and then what we did to fix it and what was done after. But these were really little Christmas lights that went around the buildings, or people who put LED lights in their windows. Then we had a GC that submitted it, but then they weren't licensed to be an electrician GC, so we had to get another GC on top of it who had an electrical unit. It was just it kept on dragging and dragging until we were able to close it because of the getting the people to basically do the work, who are licensed, who can do the paperwork. I was working with the city constantly. They must have came up 10, 15 times, but the fines kept on going and I wasn't able to close it. So I'm asking and these were not fines that we did. These were fines that tenants that did that we couldn't even get into the unit because during COVID time, we had to evict them because they just skipped on us. So this was a big mess for us and I'm asking.
This is pre-COVID though, Mr. Anderson. The violation was October 3rd of 2018.
Right.
So COVID really didn't start till February of 2020.
We weren't able to, basically the tenants were supposed to get that. When I became manager, I found out about these issues. And if you check, when we started closing these items because of the lighting is during the COVID time. That's when I started all the work.
Okay, but I'm saying the violation was prior to COVID and I know you're not responsible for the actions prior to you, but this was going on prior to you. So that's, and the fine started prior to you, when did you become the
I
manager?
became in 2020, right before the COVID time.
Okay, so the fines actually did run during your tenure, but the violation was prior to that time. So I hear what you're saying, but they had those lights for a long time prior to any corrective action taking place.
And the tenants were telling me, and they wrote, and I have those emails, that they did call this, they were taking off the wrong lights. They didn't know that the LED lights around the windows were the non-legal ones. I mean, I think, I don't know if you remember all these back and forths with Via Brazil, Lewis. Lewis was one of the tenants who gave in all the paperwork, and we believed he was a real GC. Then the city called back, and the city came and told me, I understand your tenant's trying to fix it, but he is putting under his name, his license, but he's not an electrical license, so he can't even submit that he fixed these things. We need to go get an electrical license to sign off on these permits. So we were just believing the tenant that he's doing the right thing, but it didn't end up being that way, so.
So how much did it, ultimately, you had to pull a permit, right? And you had to hire an engineer or electrician, I meant to say.
We had to pull a permit, we had to hire an engineer and then we had to hire a GC to do a drawing of pictures prior to pictures after. Then we had to submit it, and then the city, it took a while, it just took a long time for it to get approved because it has to go through 7, 8 different approvals just for them to come out. But the lights were off right away. It wasn't that the lights were on or off, it was that they couldn't come down and close it because you can't just go and close something by looking at it. We had to prove what was there before and after, and that was the real problem I was having.
Okay, so how much did it cost you to get into compliance? What were all the charges, the fees that you had to pay?
Just the plans alone was something like $7,000-8,000, just on the planning of them making official drawings. And then the electrician had to come and take down all this stuff. And then we had to, and then the city wanted us to repaint it, so we repainted it. It was, I would say, a total of over $10,000 to close this down. Okay.
All right. And I see the fines are $48,000 and plus court costs. I'm going to mitigate it to $5,000 inclusive of court costs.
Thank you.
Okay, to be paid by 30 days enough time, March 17th?
30 days enough time, yes.
Okay, by March 17th.
Thank you very much. I can go, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Page 7, number 14, SMD 2020, 699 for 1521 Jefferson Avenue. Mitigation, Your Honor.
Today's a mitigation day. Hi,
Good morning, Your Honor. George Zamora, property manager for 1521 Jefferson Avenue.
Did you submit a mitigation request?
Yes.
You did? Okay, I'm just looking for it. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. Thank you. Okay, whenever you're ready. Thanks for submitting that. Just makes it so much easier for me.
Okay, so as you just read it, the request, we received, of course, a violation for the 40-year recertification back in 2018, and we promptly hired an engineer who submitted a report to the city in 2018, in November of 2018. At that time, we were told that because there was a violation for work done without a permit. We were not able to close out the 40-year recertification. And to be specific, that violation for work without a permit was an old violation for the replacement of a vanity and some angle stop valves for the vanity. We came across a problem with trying to close that violation. We've been going through hoops and hurdles on that. And during this process, fast forward to August of 2021, out of frustration, I reached out to the city's chief structural engineer, and I asked him, I said, look, this violation, this open violation that's holding up the 40-year recertification it has nothing to do with structural. He reviewed it, and a few weeks later, they issued a letter stating just that the violation is not structural. And once that letter was submitted, it got closed out. So essentially, had we been told back in 2018 that that was an option to have the chief engineer for the city review the case, it would have been closed out in 2018 and not in 2020. And I have a copy of the letter, if you needed to see it, from the city's engineering division.
Okay, so do you have that same information that he's talking about, that he never really, it was, I guess, it seemed like there was just a miscommunication because they were in compliance all along and they just were given misinformation?
I have the reviewers' comments where they're asking for it. But again, if there was any resolution that they came to with the structural engineer, that's not on our record here. Have it?
Yeah, I have the letter, and I have the email that was initially sent, and from when it was sent, it was resolved. I sent the email to the engineer on August 24th, and we got our letter September 7th saying that they reviewed it and everything was okay.
Right, and you had done nothing different. That was my point, that everything had already
Correct.
been done, and you did nothing different other than you just didn't realize that the outstanding violation had nothing to do with keeping you from your 40-year recertification. Do you want to submit that into evidence?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
So this was 9/7 of, okay, so this letter is dated the same date that this violation was closed.
Correct. It was with this letter that they closed out the violation, but the whole thing is that had we known that we could have gone to the engineer back in 2018, it would have been resolved because nothing different was done with that open violation, which still exists because we're still having issues trying to get it closed out. So we, as you mentioned, we did nothing different, and just by them submitting the letter, reviewing and submitting the letter, it was resolved.
And what's the date of that letter?
September 7th.
Of
And they noted on here that they reviewed the report that was submitted November 21st, 2018.
Yeah, so nothing's changed.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mitigate it to court costs since I think it was just a miscommunication.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. So I have it as $106. Was a lien filed on here?
I don't think so, but let's double check. I would put it on, I would change the status if it was, yeah, the court cost is only $106.
Okay.
And no,
No lien.
oh, wait a minute, hold on. We did file, we sent the 20-day notice. They sent the 20-day notice on 9/27. And let me see. Oh, I didn't file a lien.
Okay.
He made a request for a mitigation immediately.
Okay. All
I
right.
had to look at my notes.
That's okay. All right, so let's have it'll be mitigated to $106 to be paid by March 17th.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Page 9, number 17, SMB 20, 900, 7625. They're here to challenge the affidavit of non-compliance, Your Honor, and the lien withheld fines are imposed.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Manuel Rodriguez. I'm the board president of Carlisle Plaza, Inc. This is a leak between two unit owners. It wasn't per se the association. The association hired an engineer which did an inspection. It was a drip. It turns out that the AC from the studio above, I don't know how, it was leaning inward instead of outward, and the engineer found that it was traveling through the wall and making its way down to the unit 305. The reason it took a little bit of time, the association poured water on the balconies, thinking it was coming up from the outside, on the windows. We tried everything we could. The drip would start and stop, and we realized once the engineer came, that the AC, they weren't using it since it was cold one day, and then they would use it when it was warm, so it took a while. But we did submit documents to the city and to Adrian Avalos, our engineer, sent documents back in June, I think it was, June 14th, and I thought this was all resolved once he sent all these documents in. We were back and forth with Adrian Avalos. We also sent Cindy some emails and another representative of the city. And I usually check the CSS website, and I realized that there was a lien imposed on the association. We had no clue. That's when I reached out to Cindy and I asked her to please put an extension on this so we could figure out what's going on. I'm still not sure what happened. Our engineer submitted everything that they requested, how it was remediated, which was the AC was sloped outward toward the tube it was supposed to be dripping onto, and they covered, the two unit owners got together, they covered up the little hole. It was just a hole in the ceiling, so it was dripping straight down. It wasn't in the wall or anything, so it wasn't really caused by the association.
I don't have anything under the violation. No engineer's letters or permits pulled.
He submitted it to the city, and I submitted it to the city, to Adrian Avalos. I have multiple emails. We even submitted it to another city official, Karlas Cassandra, or something like
Carlos
that.
Santana?
Yeah, we submitted it to her.
Do you see it under violation, Carl?
We submitted Cindy on 6/10/21. We submitted the documents along with Adrian Avalos, all the documents required.
I have the letter here from the engineer. Do you see that?
We got it here, but it was never inputted into our system.
As far as all those other documents, it has to do with if it has to do with permitting or anything like that.
This loop of the AC.
No, I sent it to Adrian, but I CC'd you because I knew we had a meeting with a special master, and I submitted it to you so you can have it on file for them. I apologize if.
No, it's been 14th, 20th, 21. Okay.
The good news is there's no lien on the property.
We are trying to get the property up to code. We're doing our fire now. We're doing our 40-year electrical, 40-year everything. It's.
So obviously, as per the recommendations in his letter, no permit would be required to fix it. It's just changing the slope on the AC.
So they don't need a permit.
They wouldn't need a permit.
So they just need an inspection to come in, and I mean, they just have to request an inspection so they can get an affidavit of compliance?
No, I believe as long as we have that letter on file,
So they should be in compliance then.
they should be in
The
compliance.
AC they probably put something on top of the AC and it leaned inward. It's just the studios. One row, we have a drip tube directly out, and then I guess the AC wasn't dripping out, it was dripping in, and they
Yeah,
corrected the slope.
I read the engineer report. Okay, then I'm gonna grant the challenge for the affidavit of compliance.
So I'm not gonna file a lien.
Don't file the lien.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the letter they have in your possession, was that submitted to the special masters?
I'm sorry?
The letter they have in your possession, was that submitted today as part of the case?
No,
Or
that was.
It was submitted to Adrian, Cynthia, and Fernando. It was emailed to everybody.
In June, I think it was.
Do you want it, you have it, or do you?
No, because the building department wasn't copied
Oh,
by those, well, Adrian was, what was the date?
Adrian was copied on June 16, 21.
He wasn't here.
He was
It
already
would have bounced
retired?
back.
And I would have forwarded it to,
We sent it to two other people. We even sent it to, because,
Ibrahim Alvarez?
no, Ibrahim, I tried. I called several times and they kept on giving me an email, and every time I would send them an email, it would bounce back like it's the wrong one,
The wrong
this
spelling.
one.
That's Carla.
Carla. We submitted it to Carla too.
Does Carla, do you have it? You don't have it.
You wrote back to us that,
The last email that I have, it was on the 7th.
no, 6/10/21. On 6/16, we tried again. Fernandez also. We tried on we sent out everything again on 6/16. Like I said, it really wasn't the association, it was two private owners.
Okay, well, I'm going to grant the challenge because you're in compliance, so.
I appreciate it.
I just think, do you have to just prepare an affidavit of compliance then?
Yes, and if you can, that's
Yes,
my
sir.
correct email. If you can send it so I can put it into the system.
Right now.
Yeah, email.
I'll take care of it when I get to the car.
Okay.
Okay.
Any fines that I have to pay?
Wait, I'm sorry?
Anything I have to pay for the court costs?
No, there shouldn't be any court.
road piece, but not today.
Okay.
So I don't have the affidavit of compliance. And then,
Mr. Alvarez will be preparing it, he said.
We'll
And then we
prepare it
can
once
go
I
to the next step.
enter the letter into our system.
Thank you. That's all?
Yeah.
Have a great day, guys.
okay, page 9, number 18.
I don't know what it was, but they were giving me the email and I sent multiple, like, tres o cuatro, perdón.
SMB 21-964 for 1350 Southwest Cape Points Road. They made a request for an extension of time around it, and their request is covered.
Good morning. My name's Jeff Mayer. I'm the owner of 1350.
Okay. It has to do with the dock, okay. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, sure. So the background is I purchased the house at the end of end of January 2020, and there's a pre-existing violation on the dock. I hired an engineer to assess if it was could be repaired or replaced. Determination was it needed to be replaced. We created the plans and hired a contractor and submitted to DERM in May of 2020. And that process to come out of DERM took 13 months, and including a biological survey and a coral relocation plan, and et cetera. Plans were submitted to the city about 3 weeks later, and they did a turn in the city, and I received had to go back to DERM. So it was submitted back to DERM, and it just came out of DERM in the middle of January. And we submitted to the city at that time, and on January 27th, we got the preliminary approval of the plans, which is great.
Wow.
So that was just 3 weeks ago, and we submitted the plans back over to DERM, where they need to now issue a permit. And on the 7th of February, which is a couple days ago, they listed the things that we needed to satisfy, which are very simple proof of payment of some fees, and then a letter from the adjacent owner to the west, which we already submitted that letter. So once we get that letter, the plan should be, permit should be issued, and then I believe the process is we submit back to the city, and the committee will issue the permit, and then the work can be scheduled. And so it's been a long process, but I've been on top of it, and there's hundreds of communications about this, and from what I'm told, it's not abnormal. for the process to take this long. I appeared in August to ask for an extension of 90 days, which I was kindly granted, and I was advised to notify Ms. Neves 30 days prior to the expiration of that extension if I needed more time, which I did. What I didn't know was that the fines started to accrue, and I just found out a few days ago when I communicated with Ms. Neves about this hearing today.
Okay, so I'll, let's see, you requested additional, and I see that you really have been trying, I mean that.
Yeah, I've been, for sure, I can't use the dock, and I'm very motivated to cure this.
Right. Cindy, I don't have in my file the email. You said there was an email that was requesting additional time to comply?
Should be in there.
In
There's a paper clipped. See that paper clipped in the beginning?
Oh, is that what you did? Okay. Oh, yes. So the compliance date was, let me see.
Compliance date was 11/12/2021.
Okay, and the request for additional time was on October 11th. Let's see, 21. So it was, yeah. How much time do you need, Mr. Meyer?
So I think I would say let's say 2 weeks to come out of Durham, and I would say 2 weeks to have the city issue the permit, since we already have preliminary approval. So that would be 30 days. Then we would schedule the work, and my contractor tells me it'll take 30, 45 days to get a barge there to do it, and at least to remove the dock should be done shortly thereafter. So I would say 90 days is if everything falls into place, should be cured. If some,
Why don't we do 120? I think you're cutting it really
yeah, no,
close.
it's close. So thank you, I appreciate that. And things
So why
are
don't we
always taking
give-
longer.
I'm going to stop the fine. I'm going to actually waive the fine since you did a timely request for additional time to comply. So I'm going to waive the existing fines, and I'm going to grant you a new grant additional time to comply with the new compliance date of June 17th.
Thank you very much.
June 17th. If not, the original fines of 100 a day will be imposed.
And Mr. Meyer, the same, if you find yourself close to that June deadline, repeat the process that you did to get here
Sure.
today.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Welcome.
Number 12, SMB 19-587 for 7717 Byron. There are fines. He's requested to stop the fines, extension of time, and challenge the non.
Hey, good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Guy Zitayat, I'm the property manager.
Guy?
Zitayat.
Spell that, please.
Zitaiat.
Z-I.
Zitaiat.
And what are you?
Property manager.
I'm the property manager.
Thank you.
there's just, I want to look at all the orders. I just want to, there's a big file.
Yeah, it's likely to expire October 8, 2022. It was issued on August 20th.
Okay. All right, I'm ready whenever you are. Abraham, you want to explain the violation for me? And then I'll have him explain their...
Yes, Your Honor. This was for 7717 Byron Avenue, new cameras, new electrical conduits, new boiler tank, and electrical panel. There is a permit in issue status, a master permit, that was issued back on 8/20 of 2020, and it's due to expire 8/8/2022.
And that'll cover these violations?
That will cover the violations as long as they have the trade permits also pulled under this, which it looks like they do. They have the electrical and they have mechanical and plumbing permits.
Okay, so I guess my question is, I see that they had a compliance date, August 16, 2021, okay? And you guys submitted an affidavit of non-compliance on August, August 16th, 2021. But yet you're telling me there's a master permit that was issued in August 2020. So when this affidavit of non-compliance was issued, were they already, it should have not been issued then?
No, Your Honor, they were required to have full compliance by that compliance
Oh, I understand
date.
that. Okay. So they still are not in compliance. Okay.
Right.
So what is your basis for challenging the affidavit of non-compliance? Because your request for additional time was not made timely. I'm looking at your email here. October 16, 2021, you made a request to stop the fines and extension of time to comply, but your compliance date was already August 16th of 21, so you asked for it after the fact, and so you don't have a basis to challenge the affidavit of non-compliance.
Okay.
Your Honor, was it made the same day as the compliance date, 2021?
No, the compliance date was August 16th of 21, and their challenging was October 16th. It was done 2 months later.
I got the affidavit of non-compliance on 9/28.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the email, and that could be, I have an affidavit that's dated September 15th of 21, but this request to stop the fines and for additional time to comply is dated October. So it's still after the fact, is my point. Okay, so what is your basis for challenging it since you're still not in compliance?
Well, after I got the master permit, I needed to change the GC because they was slamming with work, so that was taking me time. And then the main issue, and I have all the emails back and forward, is the boiler. I already finished the electricity. I just need to do the final inspection. I can do it Monday. But the problem is the boiler. And it was only one manufacturer, and it was taking almost 5 months to get it. And I thought I did the math, and I'm like, maybe I'll go to my engineer and change it. But I know how long it took me to get the master permit issue. It was more than 2 years, back and forward with the city during the pandemic. I have the email here from the manufacturers that they're delaying the boiler estimate coming, and I think I just got it now. I got it like a month ago. I'm almost done. I can finish everything in 30 days.
Okay, I'm going to deny the challenge, though, because you're still not in compliance. So I'm denying the challenge of the affidavit of non-compliance. And if you can come back for mitigation, we can deal with your fines then, but you're still not in compliance. This is a 2016 violation. It's not, if you told me it happened in 2020 or 21, I'd have a little bit more leniency, but this is a 5-year violation already, so I don't really see where there's a basis to stop the fines
And
at
you know,
this point.
if I may, just so he knows, the reason it's been extended to the date it has been is because they've been calling inspections under the linked records, under electrical permit and mechanicals, but nothing's been called under the master. So the contractor should call some inspection under the master permit, because since there's a lot of progress, we might have not seen things that, or you might have covered up things that we should have looked under the master permit. There's no inspections called under the master.
Oh, you have to call inspection for the master permit also?
Yeah.
So when you finish all the three, the electrical, mechanical, then you have to call inspection
Right, but I'm
for
sure,
the master?
like, you have an electrical rough, there should have been a inspection called under the master after the rough as well.
After the rough?
Right.
Okay, that's good to know. It's my first time. I got this on 2019. The manager before, I guess he never
Right. So
looked
you're-
at
you're-
anything. I was there. It's my friend's building, and
I'm sure you're doing a great
Yeah,
job, but unfortunately,
I understand.
it's an old violation, and we don't want to reward buildings for not doing the right thing, and you're doing the right thing. You got in, and you're doing it as quickly as you can. We'll deal with that at mitigation, but the building itself didn't do the right thing. So it's, 5 years. Okay, so once you're in compliance, just let them know as soon as possible for a final inspection, and then you can request a mitigation. You can go online. There's a form to complete, and
So after the final inspection, you request mitigation?
Correct. Okay? Okay.
Thank you.
There you are. Does that conclude our 10 o'clock?
Yes, we got no shows.
Oh, we have no shows, right?
Well, I mean,
All right, let's do our no shows.
this lawyer is here for 11.
I know, but I want to finish the 10 o'clock calendar, yeah.
All right, page 6, number 11, SMB 19559 for 630 79th Street. This was reset for proper service on 10/28.
Okay, did you guys, I think I have it. I have a signature here, so. Yeah, we have service. It was sent to a California address. Is that what you guys have?
It was posted.
Did you guys post on this one? Do you know?
I can check if I have any pictures.
Yes, because I got a check mark on the paperwork. That means I said it.
Yeah, I see that. There's
Yeah,
like a,
I think that was why it was reset from October. I think at that time, the magistrate had concerns, since it was an out-of-state resident from California, to make sure that it was reset to the owners out in California and posted on the property. This is Mr. Dash's former property, I believe.
it's a what?
It was sold, and that's why the service had to go to the new folks.
Okay, so I have an address out in Rancho Mirage, California, so I'm assuming those are the new owners?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, then we have service.
No posting.
There's no posting? No. Yeah, but the letter should be sufficient. At the very least, they could have sent an email saying that we're not available or please reschedule, but is this, wait, you know what? Hold on. I just want to make sure it's for the right. So there was a hearing on February, nope, we don't have it because there was a hearing on February 10th of 2022. No,
That's today.
I'm sorry, it is correct. October 28th, there was a hearing, and at that time, the special magistrate said, let's reset it for a proper service for February 10th. So it was set on November 9th, it was delivered. They may have forgotten now that we're in February, but it was sent with proper service, and we do have a signature, so we have it. All right, let's go ahead and proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, this is for 830 79th Street. It was for window installations without a permit. A permit was applied for back on May 24th, 2021. Actually, it was abandoned that date, but there was a permit that was applied for, BR 200-4277.
Okay, so they need to get an after-fact permit?
Right, they need to get this permit back in issue status and call inspections.
How long should that take? I just want to give a compliance date.
You change your contractor, get the permit back in issue status, it should take them at least 60 days.
Okay, let's do an April 18th compliance date. How many units is this building?
The property appraiser has it as multifamily between 2 and 9 units. There's 6 bedrooms, I'm just not sure. It looks like the property appraiser has it as 3 living units.
Oh,
But I guess my question is, the permit that was abandoned, was that under the name of Adam Dash? Because he sold the property on January 27th, 2021. And the other reason why I'm asking is that it may take them a little longer than the 60 days, because I don't know if they can apply for somebody else's abandoned
Correct.
permit.
That's 4-2.
Yes, it was.
It was?
Adam Dash.
So, Your Honor, I think we might need more than 60 days for a compliance date,
All right,
because they
let's-
have to start from scratch,
So 90 or 120?
90.
Okay, let's do a compliance date of May 18th. Or there'll be a 150-day fine. Number 13.
And I've got someone emailing me that he has a hearing right now, and he was up all night, and he thought he could come to Zoom. So I was, so I'll respond to him. He wanted to come at 2 o'clock.
What time was he scheduled for?
I don't know, because he didn't give me a case number. He just said that his special master's hearing is being held right now.
All right, have him come at 2 o'clock. I'm okay with that.
Page 7, number 13, SMB 2020-666, 3030 Collins Avenue.
Okay, we have service. It was sent to a Madison Condominium Association and Miami Lakes. That must be the registered agent.
They challenged the affidavit of non-compliance.
Okay, well, they're not here, so I'm going to deny. We have, let's see, service, no show. Let me make sure we have the right service before I. Is that how you have, Steve? Is that current Sunbiz will be?
I'm going to double check.
Thank you.
Let's see, search. Yes, care of Universal Property Management, 5190 Northwest 167th Street, Unit 202, Miami Lakes, Florida.
202?
202.
We sent it to 302.
Hang on. For this case, it doesn't even say what unit it is.
No, the registered agent is in Unit 202, but the file looks like the notice was sent to Unit 302.
Correct. It was, according to this, it was sent to 302, so we need to reset it for proper service.
So cross out everything that was just.
Well, yeah, I don't have service. Yeah, reset proper service for May 12th.
Make sure you send it to Unit 202. Cindy.
Okay.
Number 15.
Page 8, number 15, SMB 2020, 730, 1560 Lennox. Fines have been imposed at $4,200, and they were scheduled for progress.
I don't have service unless you guys posted it. I don't have any service. I'm sure you're happy, more than welcome. I don't have service. Did you guys post it or no?
No.
All right, let's reset proper service on May 12th. We posted as well. That concludes our 10 o'clock calendar. I'll hear his, and then I'm going to use the restroom real quick. Oh, okay, thanks. Give me 1 sec.
We've been stuck to the chair all day.
Yeah, no, I did.
Okay, which case are you here for?
Yes, Your Honor, this would be 2020-00818, Lagos Palace, 6301 Collins Avenue.
Okay, let me get that one.
We just did Mr. Alvarez, he stepped out.
Yeah, this is page 11, number 21. SMB 2020-186-301 Crown. An extension of time, and that request was turned.
Okay, please state your name for the record.
Luke Ford on behalf of the association.
Lou who?
Luke Ford, like the car, no relation. I'd be on a boat somewhere on the bay here.
You're like, bummer, right? Okay, let's see. Okay, so there was a compliance date on November 12th.
Yes, that's when the fine started to accrue. We actually moved for the extension of time in October, and this was the first available hearing date. So I'm sure that Your Honor has the record, but we submitted, I think it was 5 different revisions for the permit, finally got the permit. The notice of commencement was recorded on December 9th, and so far, all the big ticket items except for, which is what I wanted to discuss with you, the carpet. And that's really what we're waiting on at this point. So I believe all the inspections, including the most recent one, I believe on December 9th was the thermals. And the reason we need the extension time now is because the carpets are no longer being manufactured. So we're trying to find either the closest match, or there's also apparently an option for someone to make a small batch to manufacture the batch for you. So that's what we're exploring now.
Yes, Your Honor. Their master permit is due to expire 6/15/22. This was for corridor drywall repairs and new floors. So there's still
Okay,
doing
so
inspections.
I'm going to grant the additional time to comply and waive the fine since your request was made timely. It was done in October.
26th.
And I see the memo that you provided me with. And so it was definitely timely. The fine should not have started, but we didn't have a hearing date available. So I'm going to waive the fines. I'm going to grant your time, and I'm going to give you a new compliance date of when your permit expires, which will be June 16th, okay? And if not, the fines will restart at $100 a day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
16?
Yeah. That's a new compliance date.
$100?
$100.
And would it be the same situation, Your Honor, if at that point, for whatever reason, we're still struggling to finalize the project and get the final inspection, we would make a motion
Make
for
a
extension?
timely request, and, right, but, you know, it just seems like you're not going to have a problem at this point.
I hope not, but I always like to leave room for
Yeah,
life.
as long as the city agrees that you're moving towards getting to compliance, and, you know, then we have no problem giving additional time to comply.
Thank
The
you.
only issue you might run into is if the permit expires on that date, you're going to have to request a permit extension from the building
Understood.
department.
If she is coming to that date, which is 6/15/2022, send us a letter asking for more time.
Got you, so like in advance, maybe like in May, send you guys a letter and let you know?
Right.
Okay, thank you, guys. Right. No, I understand the compliance and the permit. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Okay,
No show?
let's do no-shows.
Okay, page 10, number 19, SMB 1960 for 865 Collins, requesting to stop fines and an extension.
I don't have service unless it was posted.
I was checking.
I see that, no service, okay. But I'm looking at the request anyway in the meantime. Let's see, they sent an email dated October 26, 21, that October, saying we request extension of time, oh, it was after the fact. Their compliance was October 22nd, okay.
Maybe that's them now.
Oh, okay. Let's reset it for proper service. I'm not going to stop the fines. Their request wasn't timely. So let's reset it for May 12th. Maybe you want to post it then?
Got it.
Okay.
Now, the next one down, page 10, number 20, SMB 19649. This is the gentleman that just sent me the email.
Okay, so we'll hear him at 2 p.m. today.
And I told him to come at 2. He hasn't responded yet. Let's see. Okay, no, that's not it.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I said that would be there.
All right, so why don't we hear it at 2 o'clock, okay?
I already made a little note.
Okay.
Coming at 2.
Okay, that's fine. That conclude, or we still have more? Oh, that concludes our left calendar. All right.